Hello, hello, hello.
There we go.
Uh, hello? Hold up. God damn it. Hello? Oh, what the hell? Oh, god damn it. Right. Sorry, chat. My stupid ass.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I just got out of raid and, my stupid ass, forgot to take push to talk off.
It happens.
God damn it. So, Danny, how are you doing tonight? Again, I
Doing
apologize
good.
about being late. I'll just go ahead and get the camera up now real quick. Get you going. All right. Just so we don't waste, so that way I don't waste any more of your time. Um, let's just go ahead and hop in, shall we?
Yeah, this is not too bad.
So, oh yeah, I see the bar on the right. Yeah, this isn't too long. So, so Danny already took a look at the TWAB basically, and let me know that it's really not that long. It's probably about what, like the same, probably around the same like length as last week's, right?
Yeah, because there's like a lot of stuff in this that you can just kind of skim through. Some good changes, some interesting changes, and just more community stuff.
Yeah, so this week they're doing specific third party peripheral usage, and we'll kind of go into that. Uh, I think we should skip that until the end, because I think there's a lot to talk about on that in particular.
Yeah,
Um,
that's got the most in it. Everything else is pretty light.
yeah, well, and there's a big discussion that I would like to do for that one, but we'll try to condense it. So Destiny, about the commendations, reminding about Trials Labs. Bungie Foundation is getting kilt happy, an update to the known issues list, and obviously the weekly Destiny MOTWs and AOTWs. So we will go ahead and skip the third party stuff. And first things first, Walk Fashion Baby. As they stated last week, they are bringing in uh, the commendation for Best Dressed Guardians, which again, super fun. It's a new little card. I like it. It's kind of got like that King of like Spades slash Hearts kind of look to it. It's kind of nice.
Yeah,
I also love that the helmet that they use it basically looks like the Destiny logo.
it's a good choice. They did state in this that best dressed is going to be in like what they refer to as low trust activities, like match made activities that don't require super intense communication. So basically, like strikes, gambit, regular crucible.
Yeah, like stuff that you would normally expect it to be in. Cause like, damn,
Yeah,
bro, that dude kind of got some drip. Like, yeah, that's fair. No, 100
yeah.
percent makes sense. I get it. I'm really fine with that. Um, I mean, nothing really crazy special. I do like the card though. The card is pretty good looking.
Yeah. The
Um,
commendation's nice.
yeah, to the labs, the trials labs. So this is something that we also need to kind of talk about. Because they tried out with what was it, 6v6 trials?
I don't know if they. I don't know what they did because I've only done like one trials labs.
Okay, because I tried out trials labs back when they first did freelance. Which, by the way, please bring that back. I really liked freelance trials. This new one, I don't know how I feel about it.
I'm intrigued with some of the changes they're listing here.
Yeah. So to kind of go in, um, they're changing a lot of things, such as the challenger pool, the practice pool, and then stomp protection, farming protection. So, what does this mean? So, basically, the challenger pool. This is where most players who currently play trials on a week-to-week basis and who want to go flawless will play. It represents an experience more like the original iteration of Trials in D1, without the focus on making games more difficult as the card progresses or after you have been flawless. This pool matches based solely on connection. There is no matchmaking based on tickets, wins, weekly wins, or skill. Players who have any card with no losses, including a card after reset, or those playing with someone in their fire team that has a card with no losses, will be placed in this pool. Then there's the practice pool. This pool is targeted at new or less experienced players, players who are not yet ready to give going flawless a shot, and represents a place for them to dip their toes into trials without being thrown straight into the deep end. The way that this works, it will be pool matches based on connection and weekly performance. How well you have done in trials this week resets every week. Only players with a flawed card or those on their first game of the week can play in this pool. Everyone in your fire team must have a flawed card or be on their first game of the week. This pool in particular, the practice pool, also has stomp protection and farming protection. Basically, if you are consistently struggling, it will reduce your weekly performance rating to give you slightly easier matches until you can recover. And then farming protection. If the system detects that you or a fire team member are likely attempting to farm the practice pool, it will slow down your matchmaking times initially, and if you continue, it will lock you into the challenger pool for the remainder of the weekend, regardless of your card state. As a reminder, the updates to the passages of Wealth and Mercy and the changes to the Gilded Flawless Triumph requirements will not be live on these weekends. Those will come in Season 21 alongside the new emblem and introductory quest. We'll be playing alongside you all in both pools and monitoring feedback on the new matchmaking system over the course of these labs. Later in Season 20, we will have a more in-depth discussion about the changes that are coming to Trials in Season 21. So, there's a lot to intake here. And I'll kind of break this down a little bit, for those of you who weren't really able to follow along with me rapid spitting all that out. Basically, Challenger Pool, if you play every week, you're going to be put up against people who play Flawless every week, or play Trials every week. If you only play 1 to 2 games, you're going to be in the practice pool. You're only going to be playing against other players that are, only playing a match or two. And if you're in that the flawed pool, the practice pool, they're going to do their best to try and prevent you from actually, just straight up getting shit on. But they're also going to try and prevent people from farming the practice pool. So I'm kind of 50-50 on this, Danny. And hear me out on this, all right? On one hand, I love the practice pool. The issue that I have is the fact that it's not taking into account players that have never been flawless. Ever. It's just saying it's only the first couple games.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is still shitty. Danny and I have been playing this game since it came out, forever ago. And Danny has never been flawless, and neither have I. And we have attempted trials on several different occasions, and we have never been flawless. And the fact that we are getting up against people, Danny, what was our record? 16 losses before we finally won match 6 or got win 6.
And that one was rough.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that should never happen. That should absolutely never happen. Ever. In my opinion, I think that there's and here's the shitty part, is that there's too many factors to properly balance trials, right?
There really are.
Number one, connection. Connection is always going to be the biggest thing, right? Connection's going to be huge. If you have, a teammate that's, bugging out, that's an issue. Number two, players that have gone flawless should only ever be playing against players that have also gone flawless that season. Right? Now, obviously, the first, trials of the year, or the first trials of the season, obviously is going to be a little bit different, because obviously it's going to reset after every season. So, if you're worried about that, just don't play the first week and let all the sweat lords get to flawless first. And then, the next trials after that, they're in a completely different pool. That already solves 50% of your problems. Third, yeah. I like what they did with the practice pool here, specifically stating that they want more players to do trials. But the issue is that only doing it for the first, I think, what did they say, for the first game of the week or with a flawed card. I think that it needs to be, that has, in my opinion, need to be separated. If you play, because, it kind of depends. Because chances are, you're not going to go into trials unless you are attempting to actually get rewards. It's not like Crucible where it's 3 games, it's done. No, you really need to put in more time than that for trials. Which, again, it's one of the best endgame activities that we have available right now. So it makes sense. Issue is, it's a pain in the ass. and it's honestly not balanced well. So
Like, for instance, if you want the pinnacle from Trials, you have to get 50 points, which is 50 round wins. Not match wins, 50 rounds.
which is not that difficult, right? Because on average, it's normally what? It's 4 wins for per game, right?
Uh, I think it's 5.
Five wins because it's best of 11, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's either best of 9 or best of 11, which means it's either no, my bad. It's either best of 7 or best of 5. So it's either 4 wins or 5 wins. Now that does mean that even if you lose, if you go to 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, those wins still count towards the 50 wins, which is
Yep.
good, right? And I'm totally fine with that. I think that's perfectly fine. Like even if your card is flawed, right? Even if you know you get knocked out early, you can still play for the 50 wins, even if you only get 1 or 2 round wins, because eventually you will get a round win,
Yeah.
right? Because eventually everybody's going to use their supers. Eventually you're going to play against someone who, chances are, you're probably going to end up being better than them at some point, and you're going to get a win, and you're going to get all 4 or 5 games on it, right? Like, makes sense. You're inevitably going to get it. The issue is that I still think the issue is that if you have already been flawless once that season, you should never be playing against anybody unless you have been also flawless that season. Like, I'm sorry, but that's happened way too many times to us in the past that it is the biggest issue that I have with trials. Is I think they went about this the wrong way. Is the challenger pool, like, Danny, you and I could go play trials every single weekend for the entirety of a season, and the chances of you and me actually still being able to go flawless is still slim, because people who have already been flawless can still play against us. And there's no reason to do that. And just like how it is with the practice pool, right? If someone's trying to farm, right, doing the farming protection, if someone's already been flawless and they're trying to carry people to Lighthouse, you got to be in the flawless pool, right? And here's the fucked up part, and you pointed this out the last time we talked about this, Danny, is the stupid fucking triumph that requires
Yep.
you, in order to get the fucking title, to carry people to the lighthouse for the first time. I'm sorry, that triumph needs to be removed. That triumph is absolutely terrible, and it ruins flawless for so many people who are actually have a chance to go flawless, because you go up to a person who only plays PvP. Congratulations, chances are you're probably going to lose because you're rocking some fun loadout that you want to play, but you're going up against some, probably whatever gun is overpowered, sweat lord, right? And before anybody gets elitist, and this is the last thing I'll say, before anybody gets elitist, I think everybody should have the chance to go flawless. Everybody should have an equal chance to go flawless, but you should not be punished by those who already have.
It would be nice. Be very nice.
I mean, I would like to get to 7 wins, Stanley, finally. Like, I would love to go to the lighthouse with you. We have been trying for how long now? Like, it's absurd. It's absurd. Like, and we're not bad players by any stretch of imagination. Like, Danny and I can put up some decent kill games here and there, right? But we're not sweat lords. We want to play and have fun, and we want to get loot.
Yeah.
It's hard to get loot when you get shit on that hard. So, that's where I'm gonna come from that. Now, moving on to the next section. Got some time to kilt, asking for Bungie Foundation. The Seattle Ronald McDonald's house. That is a really good picture
It's
of the
pretty solid.
with all the Bungie crew wearing some kilts and some Scottish gear. After doing their 12th annual Kilts for Kids run. So that was super dope. Again, Bungie Foundation just being based as ever. Bungie Foundation will forever be based. Like they're just good people. Just good fucking people. Along with that, if you do so, you can donate. Each vote is worth $10, $30, $10 and $30. But if you also donate $50, you'll also receive the Knees Out emblem, which, by the way, that is a great fucking name for an emblem. That
It's
starring a
really
kilt.
good.
That's so good. That is amazing. I love that. That is awesome. Along with that, at $100, you will receive the emblem, a postcard digitally signed by the Kilts for Kids team, and it will be mailed to you. If you donate $250, you'll get all of the prizes above, plus a digital copy of a new and unique piece of artwork made by Mark Fleeg himself. And then at $500, you'll get all of the prizes above, plus a physical print of Mark's exclusive art shipped to you. I think that's super dope.
Yeah.
Again, Bungie Foundation just being based.
More good incentives.
Oh yeah. Along with that is the player support system, and they've done more changes, which is wild. Guardian rank objective dates. They updated Guardian rank objectives. Legend Night score is now only 115,000 versus 130,000. The Nightfall score is 180,000 versus 200,000, and the score in Grandmaster is now 210,000 versus 230,000. Along with that, we have increased the Lake of Shadows score multiplier to 1.0. And I think a lot of you realized exactly what happened, because Lake of Shadows, I ran the Nightfall. Number one, they most definitely did not nerf Threshers.
What they did to change them is they just made it all explosive damage.
Yeah.
It no longer does direct damage. It still hurts.
It still hurts. And I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, Danny, I don't think I fully agree with it. Now, here's what I will say. I love the new wannabe Sepix Prime in the first area where you have to clear the blight out. I think that's a great boss. I think it is a good
that's
add.
Good.
I think it's great versus what it used to be, which was just big old fuck off taken captain. Much better in my opinion. What I am not a fan of is getting locked in a small ass room with a fucking tormentor. That was not fun, and I low-key wanted to shit my pants the first time I saw that when I was playing with Buddha.
I may or may not instant nuke that thing the instant it spawns.
Well, the first time I saw it, I'm like, why the fuck is there a tormentor here in this tiny ass room? It is I mean that is the smallest room in the game with a tormentor in it.
It is really tiny. But I actually don't hate that as much as I do the changes they actually made to the boss.
Agreed. I think the fact that they still health capped the boss, fucked up.
I don't like that they threw in those darkness prisms that you have to shoot to stop the taken blight from rising.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Number one, I hate it. I think it's dumb. It's on paper it makes sense as the mechanic. The issue is you already have zero room to work with already in that boss fight. And again, they health gated. I apologize. I have to turn my face cam off for a moment. Sorry. No, I'm not. I'm doing a video recording. I apologize. Mama Fox just came in the room. All good, Mama. You didn't know. So Mama Fox is staying over here. So I'm just gonna keep the face cam off. So for those of you in YouTube land, I'm sorry. I had to immediately cover the camera. So whoopsies. But yeah, no. So I kind of agree with you, Danny. I'm a little disappointed in how they did it. And again, they health gated the boss. They literally did the one thing that we did not want them. I would be willing to forgive everything else that they did to the strike if they didn't healthgate the boss.
Yeah,
But they did.
because like I don't like the health gates. I don't like the rising taken blight, and the fact that there's literally no cover in that arena.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that it's a really shitty job. And here's the part that I'm afraid of, Danny. I'm afraid to see what. Now, well, hold on. Was Arms Dealer already out or yet or not?
Arms dealer has been, and I've heard that it's not as bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, they probably didn't put in a shit ton of Shadow Legion, right? Or did they?
I think they have because the whole spin on it is that another cabal has taken the place of the one that we killed.
Not some Brachis on.
Yeah,
Who fucking
another
cares?
Zon. But,
I mean, in my opinion, the only reason why they reworked them is because they didn't want Nathan Fillion's Cade voice lines in them anymore.
I mean, there's a few voice lines that are still kicking around in places that are
I mean,
really not well aged.
I was about to say, you mean literally half of the strikes on Nessus?
Nessus in general, because the golden Vex that's sitting up in the tree where Zer spawns in still has a line about don't tell Cade because he'll want to melt it down.
Yeah. So, again, I am not a fan of what they did to Lake of Shadows. I did not play Arms Dealer yet, so I will have to go judge that for myself. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I really hate it. I really don't like what they did to it. Um, like I like the first boss. I like the wannabe Sepix Prime. I think it's dope. I think adding an actual like mini boss there, great idea. Fun mechanic. You can shoot the projectiles. It's good. It's a good fight. It's a solid fight. And it's way better, in my opinion, than what used to be there, which was literally nothing. Like that area was just, well, looks like I'm just gonna Icarus dash across the entire field, drop, or like drop a fucking, Titan Thunder crash right into them and murder them and just be on my merry way. Like it's solid. It's a solid fight, but the run on the side of the dam to the boss room, pain in the ass. Tormentor in the small room, not only the Tormentor, but the fact that they have the stupid fucking taken orbs that shoot shit at you, also fucking annoying in that small ass room. And there's 6 of those bastards that can spawn. And then what they did to the boss. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think that that one early boss fight makes up for the atrocity that they did for the rest of the strike. I think it's really shitty.
Yeah, it's not a great it's not a great series of changes.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's just kind of there.
Well, and you know what the sad part is, Danny, is I don't think it's I don't think the strike's really that hard. It's not hard. It's just annoying as fuck. And I really wish that they would have kept Lake of Shadows as one of those strikes that it's a simplistic fight. It's a simplistic strike. You're in, you're out in 5 minutes. Maybe 6 if you're waiting for rookies to play. Like, it shouldn't be that hard of it. Like, to a new light probably has to do that. Has to do that strike. A new light's not gonna know what to fucking do. Are you shitting me? No new light is gonna understand that strike. The veterans are more annoyed than the rookies, and the rookies have never seen it. So I'm
Yeah,
just like,
it's just weird. It's a weird decision.
yeah, it's bad. Um, After that tangent, moving on, we do have some new known issues. The weekly red border weapon focusing may not count progress for the Defiant focusing triumph. That's a bad one. That is really bad, because I'm pretty sure that's a Bright Dust one. I think there's one that's a Bright Dust, and I think there's one that's for one of the upgrades.
Possibly, it's not the worst because there's still a decent amount of red border sources, but that's still a little rough.
Yeah. And then these next two are also really bad. I mean, if players wipe in the boss encounter of the Lake of Shadows Nightfall, already defeated champions may respawn in previous zones, resulting in inaccurate scores and completion rewards. That's fucked.
Yep.
That is.
That one's bad.
That's fucked. That is really awful. And then Soraya Hawthorne may continue to reference visiting Amanda in her voice lines. That's an oopsie
That's
daisy.
rough.
That's a bad. No, that's yeah. This was not
That
a.
one
This
hurts.
was yeah. This was not a good week. Like
Good news though, they're now down to these issues instead of the wall of text. So a lot of things got fixed.
yeah. And then along with that, we'll go and do the artwork now. So this is the one of the movies of the week. It is Onerophobia. It is the Angry Scotsman, and it looks like a 32-bit of the RON raid, which or 8-bit, my bad, 8-bit of the RON raid, which super dope. I love going back and seeing like 8, 16, 20, 32,
Yeah.
64-bit. I think this is super dope. I love this shit. This shit is great. Um, Unfortunately, again, as per usual, we will not be watching the videos. Along with that, we also have Aslar's Collapse. And it looks like that is the ships above Titan. Which, I miss Titan. I'm gonna be real here, Danny. I genuinely miss Titan.
Might not be missing it too long.
Oh, is it coming back?
It might be.
Here's my question. Is Sloane still alive, though?
There is some dialogue that mentions a light aligned entity on Titan.
Noted. Along with that, from nightmares to delicious treats, just a normal Thursday. Emily Megan X did a pastel Hunter Queen, and that's some really nice artwork. Just simple, just some pastel coloring. I love that. That's great. Some good artwork. And then Brigand Art Nightmare Scythe Merit for the Gamester. Thank you very much. And I hate to say it, Danny, but it looks like that Hunter is saying the age old phrase. While you were fucking around with Strand, I was busy studying the blade.
It kind of does look like that.
But like, if you take a look at the faceplate, it just looks like some really nerdy ass glasses.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
But that's pretty solid. So overall, pretty decent. Now we are gonna go back and we are gonna talk about the third-party peripherals entering, what they say, entering their villain arc.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of talk about this on Twitter. I have seen some really good takes on it, and I have seen some piss takes. Um, and you know what, Danny? I'm gonna leave this to you to kind of go over a little bit, and then we'll discuss it for a couple minutes.
This has been a hot topic for the game for a while. And as they said, our community has grown increasingly frustrated by a form of cheating that uses third-party peripherals with the intent to manipulate the game client. These devices are plugged into a computer or console where they can, for example, execute simple scripts or trick the game into giving you extra aim assist. You'll note we aren't calling out the services by name. The primary reason for that is we simply don't want to offer a bigger spotlight than necessary. Instead, our focus is on what the impact of using tools like this has on a PvP environment. To this end, Bungie has adopted the following policy on any form of external aids. They don't want to name them, though basically every single person that has covered this already has literally named them, because when you notice something a little funky on PC or console, it's usually one of the two.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a lot of the info going around, and I mean, I've seen some interesting takes about things, and as much as sometimes I want to agree with them, here's my issue, right? And they talk about specifically the biggest one is accessibility aid to players. Is a lot of players want a lot of players who required accessibility, right? Some people that can't hold controllers for a very long time, specifically players that have arthritis, um,
Yep.
can't hold controllers long, um, or can't keep stable hands on a keyboard or mouse, right? So they have you know third parties that help them kind of negate part of that issue. So like minor shaking is pretty much non-existent. Um, Here's kind of the issue though: is part of part of a lot of the accessibility stuff can be fixed both by just checking your settings and both by Bungie doing stuff in the future. For example, for people that obviously are colorblind options, right? For
Hmm.
people that have arthritis or have very shaky. What's I'm trying to remember what the physical ailment is. The one that gives you like actually
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's. Yeah, where like you can't keep a stable hand. Like one of the easiest things you can actually do, just lower your sensitivity.
Yeah.
If you drop your sensitivity to like just above the lowest setting, it actually does make a world of change because it means that you have to actually, for the most part, if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, if you're looking at something, you have to move your mouse really hard, like to actually move, which requires you to move your arm, not just your hands, right? So, on one hand, I understand that and I get that. The issue that I have is it's Bungie's right to tell you you can't use that. It's their game, right? In in the fact that it can affect a lot of things, right? And they stated that in point number 3, the gain an advantage means for the use for the purpose, directly or indirectly, of achieving victory.
Yep.
And that's where I think both you and I, Danny, are kind of we're both on the fence about it is somewhat because on one hand we know that people need the accessibility, which
I do understand where they're coming from with this. Like, in those two specific instances, like PvP and World's First Race, it makes sense because as good as it is to have the accessibility peripherals, it's absolutely going to be abused by people.
100%, because if there's a way to get around something, players are going to do it. We have
Yep.
known this for years. Like a great example is League of Legends scripting.
Yep.
Like always knowing where to shoot your skill shot at all the time, every single time. Like it's 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 fucked up. It's really fucked up. And now, to be fair, Bungie can fix a lot of this, right,
Yep.
on their end. Bungie can now mind you, it's going to take a while because obviously they have to build the coding from the ground up on a lot of this stuff, right? So, if they install systems in their game settings, and you can literally just put it in the settings tab, just scroll down and you could just be like, "Hey, I have such and such." Is there like a setting for that, right? If you have arthritis, or you can, if you have arthritis, slight movements on, like, for example, controllers. I'll use controllers as a general use, just because as a controller player myself, I can kind of understand. With arthritis, you can't hold down the triggers long because if you do, your fingers lock up and it hurts. It hurts a
Yep.
lot. So, make it to where you only have to push lightly to proc what you want. Or for buttons, the slightest push does the action, right? For example, like Parkinson's. disease, right, have put in a setting that's like ultra stable, right? And now, mind you, controllers, both Xbox and PlayStation, already have aim assist built in. Just kind of up it, right? That way, instead of going through a third party system, Bungie is doing it themselves. So if they want to disable it themselves, they can just do that. And they can go in and they can manually check it themselves.
Yeah, which I think the path that they have been taking with accessibility features in game has been pretty nice. They're working on more. It seems like every other season.
Well, yeah, and I
Like,
mean, and they keep adding more and more and more stuff, which, pardon me, I'm fine with, right? And the fact that they're showing, and here's the thing, Bungie's always been, in my opinion, I think Bungie is a great example of a company showing progression, and that is something that you don't see a lot nowadays. I mean, a great example of this is a great example of a company not giving you progression or showing progression is Activision making Call of Duty games. The
right.
games are the exact fucking same. Every single one of them. After a certain point, they're all the exact same fucking game. Battlefield is very much a lot like that as well.
Yep.
Destiny, it tries to break from the mold in number one, how its storytelling goes, number two, by its gameplay, right? And they do a very, very, very good job of doing their best to show that they are listening to your feedback. Now, again, Bungie does need time to make changes. But I'm willing to give them time as long as they keep showing me progression. And I have still yet to find fault with them. If they've made a statement about something that they're going to fix, they've gone and fixed it.
Like at the very least, unlike some companies, every season so far there has been changes. Like they don't sit on something for too long, aside from like baby buffs and nerfs here and there. But that we can ignore that for now. Like actual gameplay changes has been happening basically every single season for the past year almost.
Yeah, and I'm happy about that. Again, Bungie showing progression is what players want, and I really hope that at one point that Bungie does so much that you're not going to be able to use a third party website because Bungie will just handle it directly, which
Like
I'm okay with.
they're they've basically been working with them over the past like few months, and eventually they will probably have that integrated into the game.
I mean, there's already Bungie apps that are literally
Yeah,
designed to help you with Destiny, right? And I mean, how do you think? I mean, a great example of them working with them is how do you think they got the loadouts?
yeah, it's basically the early form of what Dim had.
It's
Like
just
the only thing that they need to have is to have the ability to equip that loadout while you're in an activity. Like it's pretty nice as long as you can pull stuff out of the vault through it. That's all it needs.
yeah, being at the tower, having to go back to the tower. I'm not gonna lie, kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's
But
like
it
the
makes though I will say though, Danny, I'm not gonna lie, it does make sense.
yeah, it does make sense. Though they are so close to basically just having full on dim in the game.
Which will definitely be interesting to see how the rest of the year goes.
Oh yeah.
With that being said, Danny, do you have anything else to say about the TWAB before we end?
This particular one, I'm going to be interested to see how particularly ban happy things get relatively soon because if I remember correctly, I think we have a reprised raid coming up in the near future.
Yeah. Well, that's in next season, isn't it?
I I can't remember if it's next season or the season after.
Yeah, I think
I
it's. I
do
think we're
know,
getting one soon.
yeah, I do know that the exotic mission rotator is supposed to be next season.
Yeah, that will. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening next season, which again I'm interested in and I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
With that being said, Danny, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitch and YouTube under the same name.
You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube at DominiFox or on Twitter at DominiFox1. I just tweeted today about how second season of Ancient Magus Bride is out, and hearing the music once again just brought tears to my eye. I shed the most manliest tear today, Danny, watching the two newest episodes. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. We both hope that all of you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, don't be a sweat lord. We'll catch you guys next time.